Hi, I'm Ken Rabideau with EZproBaths, and what we'd like to do today is just talk to you a little bit about what we're looking for in a bathroom when we come to your home, and sort of tell you what our approach is. So we've decided that there are 11 basic elements to every bathroom, and there are some elements that have some potential danger as far as potential damage that could be happening within your house, and there are some signals that you can check on your own, and I'd just like to talk to you about those. So first of all, first area would be like the countertop. Any of these signs that you see, like this one here, electrical, any signs that you see that have red around them, those are potential areas of concern for you and for safety inside your home. So, but let's talk about countertops first. This is a cultured marble countertop. It's very typical of what we see when we go into homes around the triangle. These are not really what you would call an upgraded material. We would recommend going to a granite. We do a lot of granite countertops, and those seem to look particularly great. And they are an upgrade, and people, especially if you're going to be selling your house in the future, they tend to look at granite as an upgrade. So that's a good idea to do granite on countertops. Second area, cabinetry. You know, we're looking at cabinetry. You'll notice that this has a red around it. First things first, very first thing I'm going to do is open up your cabinets, and I'm going to look under there and make sure that we don't see any water leaks, because this is an area that if you get a water leak, it can be insidious and it can spread underneath into the subfloor. And this one looks good. I don't see any intrusion of water. But you can check that for yourself. Things that you'll notice is warped wood. You know, if you notice any peeling paint, anything like that, those would be indications that you might have a problem with water under the sinks. So pay close attention to that. These cabinets are actually in pretty good shape. We would probably not recommend removing these cabinets unless you feel strongly that you want new cabinetry. Rather, what we would probably do is come in and replace these knobs just to give it a fresh look, and then replace the countertop. Mirrors. Mirrors are an area that is sort of a personal preference item. Right now, the trend is to really use oval mirrors in these areas, so we would be removing most of these large plate mirrors we remove. And what we do is replace them with the oval style mirrors that are swivel. But we can do any kind of mirror that you like. We have a vast selection of mirrors, so that's what we normally would do. Lighting goes along with electrical. You know, we have to take time to figure out all the lighting in your existing bathroom and then how it's going to turn out after we do the remodel. It's really important that, you know, your bathroom is useful to you, so you have to have correct lighting. So that's one of the areas that we look at. Big area of concern. If you notice mold or mildew, excessive mildew in your bathroom, you might wonder why that's happening. And usually it's because of this right here, ventilation, proper ventilation. We go into bathrooms where the ventilation, or in this case an exhaust fan, is not even connected to the outdoors. It's called a recirculator fan. It is okay by code in some areas, but we don't recommend it. It doesn't obviously remove the moisture from the bathroom, and that's effectively what we're trying to do. So we'll be looking at that to make sure that you're getting the proper ventilation in your bathroom, and if we need to upgrade it, we can do that. Okay, big area of concern. This is one of the problem areas in most bathrooms, is the toilet. The seal, there's actually a seal that is between the floor and the base of the toilet. It's made out of wax, and while they don't really degrade over time, they can flatten out, and you can get some seepage out from the toilet. But more commonly, underneath, these bowls tend to rot out, and once that happens, you can get leaking down from the tank down to the floor. And what you might see there, if that's a situation where you have, if you walk around this area and sort of, you know, bounce your weight on it, you'll see that sometimes the floor can be soft. And if you see that your floor is soft, it's an indication that you've got some water intrusion there too. Moving over to this side. Okay, let's talk a little bit about flooring. We very typically in bathrooms replace existing tile, carpet. A lot of people have carpet in their bathrooms, believe it or not, and vinyl. We pull that stuff out. We usually put new tile in there that's going to coordinate with the rest of the look. And there is a right way to install tile and a wrong way to install tile. If you see cracks in your grout primarily, or if you see cracks on your tile that was not from an impact, the chances are it was not installed correctly. So those are things that we're looking at as well. Some people want us to save their floor. It doesn't end up being real economical to save a floor. It's easier for us to come in and rip out the existing floor and put in a brand new tile floor for you. Okay, so getting over to the tub area. You'll notice the red. What can happen here is this is actually a fiberglass tub. Sometimes they're made of acrylic, and the acrylic ones are better. We tend to use acrylics if we're going to go back in with a new tub. But things you can see here would be like micro fractures, cracks, areas where water can obviously get through. And if that happens, you may have some subfloor damage under there, and that's the kind of thing we're looking for. Also, very typical, you can see this crack here. That happens a lot with tubs. This area right here, because of people coming in and out of the tub, a lot of water gets there, and if they're not using the correct materials, those areas can open up, and then you get water in there, and it'll intrude into areas that it shouldn't be. So, tile. This particular bathroom doesn't have a lot of existing tile except on the floor, but oftentimes we come into a bathroom and there'll be some existing tile. It does kind of look this way. It's sort of this white, what we would call builder grade tile. This particular one, this is a prefabricated unit, but you know, it holds true for both. We would typically pull these out and rebuild, hand build a new shower and pan for you, so that, and if it's built correctly, that's the correct way to contain moisture, is with a nice hand built unit. So that's what we typically will do. Areas of concern, especially with these plastic type bases. If they're not properly installed, meaning that they have to be properly reinforced under here. If they're not properly reinforced and they get even a fraction of an inch of movement in there, every time you step in and step out of the shower, it's sort of like a, if you take a coat hanger and you bend it back and forth, eventually it breaks. And the same thing happens here. You typically will see a lot of cracking in this area near the drain. And then, you know, water doesn't just pour into the drain, it pours, you know, onto the subfloor, which is underneath there, and then causes problems. Okay, so we usually do hand-built showers. We just think that's the best way to go. And this, for us, would be trash. Glass. As part of the shower sort of deal, we have to do glass. This one is what we would call a full frame shower glass. Every place that you can imagine there can be a frame, there is a frame. And this is typical of builder grade bathrooms. This is the least expensive way to do this because they can use a thinner glass. You know, for bathrooms, for safety reasons, all glass has to be tempered glass, and the glass itself is quite expensive. It's difficult to produce it. It has to go through a tempering process. So if they can get away with using smaller or thinner glass, you know, they can save some money doing that. So that's typically what builders will do. We're not that. What we do is we come in and we usually do at least a semi-frameless, which means there would be no frame in this area, piece of glass, and in some cases we do full frameless glass. But it's sort of like a dollars and cents kind of item. It's up to you. Okay, let's talk a little bit about plumbing. There's really two components to plumbing. One is what you can see, sort of like these fixtures, and then there's another component which is what you can't see. That's the stuff that's in the walls. The stuff that's in the walls is part of our remodeling process, where we handle the things inside of here, like the valves, the toilet setting, these kinds of things. There's actually a flange that the toilet sits on in there. That's included in what we would call your rough-in plumbing work. Areas of concern, you know, plumbing can leak over time. It should not leak if it was done correctly, but we've got polybutylene piping that's in some of the houses around, and so that's something that we tend to look at when we come in as well. So that's basically it. I think there's 11 elements there. These are all items that we're looking at when we come into your bathroom. We just want to make sure that, first of all, your family doesn't have a safety concern, and then after that we're looking at potential areas that we can improve your bathroom for you. So I hope that helps. Again, Ken Rabideau, EZproBaths. Give us a call.